All right, so today we're going to do a deep dive into a world that I think most people don't think about too much.
Yeah.
Which is government finance.
Right.
Now, you sent us this really interesting document. It's a request for information, an RFI, from the Bureau of Fiscal Service, which is part of the U.S. Treasury.
Right.
So we're not talking about, like, balancing your checkbook here.
No.
This is about
big leagues.
Streamlining finances for the entire U.S. government.
Yeah. It's a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
And I think, I think this RFI is really kind of a fascinating peek behind the curtain at how the government is trying to, drag itself into the 21st century.
Right. Because, we're used to government agencies being kind of slow to adopt new technologies.
You said it.
But this RFI specifically mentions
this is interesting.
AI and robotic process automation.
To me,
is this a sign that the government is finally ready to embrace?
I think it certainly seems that way.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is that they're not just talking about automating existing processes.
Right.
They're actually exploring how these technologies can fundamentally change how they operate.
Interesting.
So you can think about, AI analyzing spending patterns to identify waste and fraud. Or, RPA handling those repetitive tasks, freeing up employees to do more strategic work.
So very different from the image of, government workers shuffling papers and rubber stamping forms.
Rubber stamping, yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And it begs the question of, can this modernization effort truly deliver on the promise of a more efficient and transparent government?
Okay, so let's dig into this RFI a little bit.
Okay.
What are the specific challenges that they are facing?
Yeah.
What makes modernizing government finance such a Herculean task?
Well, I mean, for starters, you're talking about standardizing processes across hundreds of agencies.
Right.
And a lot of these agencies are still using systems that are older than the internet.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It's going to be like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Exactly. And then there's also the issue of data.
What?
I mean, the government collects a massive amount of data, but it's often siloed with different agencies and systems.
Yeah.
So it makes it difficult to analyze and use effectively.
So it's not just about upgrading the technology, it's about rethinking.
It is. It's like a whole data ecosystem.
Data ecosystem, okay.
Yeah.
But let's face it, government projects are kind of notorious.
This is true.
For being bureaucratic nightmares. So how do they even plan to manage something of this scale?
Well, so they've laid out a really detailed roadmap in this document called the Performance Work Statement, or PWS. And this document outlines 6 major categories of support that they're looking for, from project management and analysis to systems development and implementation.
So they're really putting out a call to the private sector.
They are.
Saying, we need your help to make this happen.
Exactly. And they are acknowledging that they can't do this alone.
Right.
They need that outside expertise.
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
That they're acknowledging that.
Yeah.
And it's not just about technical expertise.
No.
They also need help with things like documentation, training,
right,
even marketing.
That's right.
Wait, marketing? I thought we were talking about government finance.
Yeah.
Selling toothpaste.
I know, right?
So
What's going on?
It gets really interesting.
Okay.
They're recognizing that even with the best technology, people need to understand and embrace these changes.
Right.
So they're looking for help to develop a marketing strategy that can effectively communicate the benefits of this modernization effort to both government employees and the public.
So it's as much about winning hearts and minds as it is about upgrading systems.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So we've got this massive modernization effort.
Yes.
That involves, cutting edge technology, a complete data overhaul, and even a marketing campaign.
Yep.
But before we get into the nitty gritty of how they actually plan to make all of this happen, there's one big question that I think our listener might be asking. Why should I care about this?
Yeah, that's the big one. Does this matter to me?
Right. And the answer is that this modernization effort really does have the potential to impact every single one of us, because a more efficient government means better use of taxpayer dollars, faster processing times.
Oh, that I like.
For things like tax refunds and more user-friendly online services. And a more transparent government means greater accountability and less waste.
All right, so it's about making the government work better for everyone, not just the bureaucrats in Washington.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why this RFI is so fascinating, because it's not just about numbers and spreadsheets. It's really about creating a government that is more responsive, efficient, and accountable to its citizens.
To the people it serves.
Exactly.
Okay, this is already shaping up to be a fascinating deep dive. I think, we've uncovered the Bureau's ambitious plans for, modernizing government finance. And we've kind of gotten a glimpse of, the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
Yeah.
But we've only just scratched the surface.
Right. Let's dive deeper into this performance work statement.
Okay.
Because it really outlines some very specific and intriguing categories of support that they're seeking.
Okay, so that's where it
gets good.
Get really interesting.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Stay with us
as we explore the nuts and bolts of this ambitious modernization effort.
Yeah.
And what it could mean for
everyone.
The future of government.
That's right. It's not every day we get to kind of peek inside the machinery of government.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to something as potentially dry as finance.
Right. But this RFI, and especially this performance work statement, it's like they've given us the decoder ring for this usually very opaque world.
Totally.
Right. Okay. And there are 6 categories of support that they outline in here.
Yes.
And it's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But I think a good way to think about it is they're basically saying, here's all the puzzle pieces we need to make this massive modernization effort work.
Yeah.
And some of these pieces are pretty unexpected.
Okay, so let's start with what might seem the most straightforward project management support.
Okay.
So what's the ask here?
So basically they need someone who can essentially herd cats.
Okay.
Hundreds of cats. You got to think about coordinating across all these different agencies, each with their own systems, timelines, priorities.
Yeah.
They need someone who's like a master juggler, someone who can keep this massive project from going off the rails.
That sounds like a job for a superhero, honestly.
I know, it's a big one.
All right. What about general analysis support?
Okay.
Is this where they figure out what's broken before they try to fix it?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay.
It's about really kind of dissecting the current state of their financial systems and processes, figuring out, where are the bottlenecks?
Right.
Where are the redundancies? The things that just don't make sense anymore.
Right.
How can we streamline, standardize, and ultimately modernize?
Right.
But in a way that actually works.
In a way that works, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're moving into the more techie side of things.
Okay, yeah.
Systems development and quality assurance support.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing this is where they're looking for the coding wizards to come in.
So they need people who can not only maintain existing systems Oracle Federal Financials, Unison Prism, but also develop new solutions that can integrate with these legacy systems. It's a very delicate balance between keeping the old machine running while building the new one at the same time.
Talk about a high pressure situation.
It is. Yeah. And then also, they have to make sure this all works, right?
Right.
Hence the quality assurance part.
Quality assurance, okay.
High stakes.
High stakes.
Yeah.
They're dealing with sensitive financial data.
Right.
We're talking about taxpayer money.
Taxpayer money, yeah.
There's zero room for error here.
Yeah.
So they need rigorous testing, quality control at every stage of development to ensure that these systems are not only functional, but also secure.
Secure. Okay, so let's say they've built this shiny new system.
How do they actually get people to use it?
Right.
That's where the implementation support comes in, right?
That is it.
Okay.
Because it's one thing to build a system.
Okay.
It's another thing to actually get people to adopt it.
To adopt it.
Right.
Right.
So this category is all about managing that transition from the old to the new.
Right.
Migrating data.
Right.
Training users, providing ongoing support.
So they're trying to avoid this scenario where they build this amazing system.
They spend all this time and energy and money, and then everyone just keeps using their old spreadsheets because they don't know how to use the new one.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. Change management.
Big one.
Can be tricky.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in a large organization like the government.
Especially the government.
But they also need to make sure people have the information.
This is key.
They need to use the system, right?
Yes.
And that's where the documentation, training, and help desk support comes in.
You nailed it.
Okay.
It's like, think about this.
Yeah.
You wouldn't buy a new smartphone without a user manual, right?
Right.
Same goes for these new financial systems.
Right.
They need clear documentation. Yeah. They need comprehensive training programs.
Right.
And they need a robust help desk to answer questions and troubleshoot issues.
So it's like a lot of hand-holding?
Yeah. I mean, in a way, but it's really more about empowering users, making them feel comfortable with the technology because a frustrated user is not a productive user.
Makes sense.
Right.
Okay. And finally, we have data analytics support.
This is a good one.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
And this seems like it could be really key to unlocking a lot of potential in the government.
Absolutely. Because we've talked about the vast amounts of data they collect. Right.
Right.
Well, this is where they bring in the data detectives.
The data detective.
Right. To sift through all this information, to find the hidden patterns and turn it into actionable insights.
Okay.
So imagine being able to track spending in real time.
Yeah.
Identify potential areas of waste or fraud.
Oh.
Make really data-driven decisions about resource allocation.
So that's a far cry from the old school image of government accounting.
Government accounting, yeah.
This seems like it could be a real...
It's a game changer.
Game changer.
Yeah.
In terms of efficiency and transparency.
It has that potential, but big but. Here.
There's always a but.
There's always a but.
Right.
Remember those unexpected pieces we were talking about earlier?
Yeah.
Well, there are actually two categories in this PWS that really stand out.
Okay.
One is marketing strategy planning and execution support services.
Okay.
And the other is program evaluation and storytelling services.
Okay.
These are not your typical government requests.
It's not every day you see the government looking for help with storytelling.
I know, right?
What is the thinking there?
So I think they're realizing that even the best technology and the most efficient systems won't reach their full potential if people don't understand or embrace them.
Okay.
Right.
So they need to sell this idea.
They need to sell it.
To both the people inside the government who are going to be using these systems and the public.
And the public.
Who will ultimately be affected by it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So they're looking for help.
Okay.
To craft a compelling narrative around this modernization effort.
Okay.
To explain the benefits in a way that resonates with people.
So they're almost treating this modernization effort like a product launch. But how do they even plan to find the right partners for all of this?
Where the RFI comes in, they're basically using this as a way to gauge the market.
Okay.
To see who's out there, who has the expertise they're looking for, who can bring fresh ideas to the table.
That's like a giant casting call.
Pretty much,
for government modernization.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, wow. This is
it's a lot.
Getting more and more intriguing.
Yeah.
I think you've got
a very
technological side,
multifaceted.
We've got the human side, and now we've even got this marketing and storytelling component. It's much more complex.
Yeah, it's a lot more
and nuanced picture.
Complex and nuanced
than I think I ever imagined.
Than I think either of us imagined going in.
Right. Okay. So I think we've done a really deep dive.
We've done a lot of unpacking
into the specific types of support that the Bureau is seeking. We've uncovered some really surprising elements.
Very unexpected things.
This emphasis on marketing and storytelling.
Exactly.
But now I think it's time to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And explore what this modernization effort could actually mean for the average person.
For you and me.
Right. Because that's what matters most.
Yeah.
So
stay tuned as we delve into the potential impact of this ambitious project on you, me, and everyone who interacts with the government.
That's right.
All right, so we've really spent a lot of time in the weeds with this RFI.
Yeah, we have.
Dissecting the performance work statement, talking about things like data analytics and storytelling.
Yeah, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, the fun stuff.
But I think it's time to kind of like zoom out a little bit.
Okay.
And ask like the big question here.
Right.
What does all this actually mean?
Yeah.
For the average person?
That's the crux of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to get lost in in the technical details.
Yeah.
But ultimately, this modernization effort has to translate into tangible benefits.
For the people who are actually...
For people.
Using it.
Right. For citizens.
So let's imagine a world where this modernization effort is successful.
Right.
What does that actually look like for someone interacting with the government?
So picture this.
Okay.
It's tax season.
Okay. Everyone's favorite time of year.
Right. And instead of, wrestling with a mountain of paperwork and confusing forms, you just log on to a user-friendly online portal.
Okay.
All your information is pre-populated.
That's nice.
There are clear explanations for every deduction.
That would be great.
You can even chat with a virtual assistant if you have questions.
So filing your taxes becomes almost enjoyable.
It looks almost enjoyable.
Okay. But beyond taxes, what other aspects of our lives could be improved by this?
So many things, potentially.
Yeah. Okay. Like what?
You think about applying for benefits.
Okay.
Renewing licenses.
Right.
Accessing public records.
Yeah, all those things.
I mean, right now, these processes can be incredibly frustrating.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Involving multiple agencies, confusing websites, endless phone calls.
Endless.
But imagine in a modernized government, all these services could be streamlined and accessible through a single intuitive platform.
It's almost like the government is finally catching up.
It's about time.
Right, with the private sector.
Yeah.
In terms of user experience.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely behind the curve. But this is a step in the right direction.
Okay, what about transparency?
Okay.
How does this effort address the issue of government accountability?
That's where I think the data analytics component becomes really, really critical.
Okay.
So imagine interactive dashboards that track government spending in real time.
Okay.
Breaking down these complex budgets.
Right.
Into easily digestible visuals.
That would be great.
Allowing citizens to see exactly where their tax dollars are going.
That would be great. No more hiding behind.
Right. Exactly.
No more
really dense reports.
Dense report.
That only a CPA can decipher.
Exactly. It's got to be accessible to everybody.
Yeah. But let's be realistic.
Okay.
Government projects have a reputation for being.
They do. Yes.
Yes.
Well, let's just say...
Not always going according to plan.
They don't always go according to plan.
Right.
What are some of the potential pitfalls?
There's always challenges. I think one of the biggest ones is just the scale and complexity of the government itself. I mean, trying to modernize systems across hundreds of different agencies, each with their own culture, their own way of doing things.
Yeah, it's like trying to turn...
It's a massive undertaking.
A giant ship around.
Yeah, it's a huge ship.
It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort.
It does.
And then there's the issue of data security.
Security, huge one.
Right, with so much sensitive information.
Right, I mean...
Being digitized.
Yeah.
I mean, protecting that.
Protecting it from cyber attacks is paramount.
Right.
So they're going to need to invest heavily in cybersecurity measures.
Right. So it's not just about building these new systems.
It's about building them, right?
It's about building them the right way.
Yeah.
And it's about building them in a way that is...
In a way that's secure.
Secure, yeah.
Sustainable and adaptable.
Right. And I think it also requires...
This shift in mindset.
Yeah, I think that's key.
Right. Both within the government and among the people.
Yeah.
The citizens it serves.
We need to move away from the old way of doing things.
Right.
Where processes are slow.
Right.
Information is siloed and technology is an afterthought.
So this RFI is really just the beginning.
It's the first step.
Of a much larger journey.
On a long road.
Towards a more modern, efficient,
yes,
and transparent government.
That's the goal.
Right. And it's a journey that will require...
It'll require a lot.
Time. It'll require time, effort.
And a willingness to embrace change.
From all sides.
From all sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, there will be challenges along the way.
Oh, absolutely.
I think this RFI signals this commitment to modernization.
It does.
That is both ambitious.
Yes.
And frankly, quite exciting.
It is. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely food for thought.
Yeah.
We've gone from dissecting this kind of dry government document.
Right.
To envisioning this future where interacting with the government is actually, dare I say.
Dare you say it.
Easy and enjoyable.
Easy and enjoyable. What a concept.
What a concept.
Right.
Yeah, it's a bold vision.
It is.
But it's not impossible.
Not impossible.
And ultimately, it's a vision.
It benefits everyone.
That benefits everyone.
Because a more efficient and accountable government leads to better services, better use of taxpayer dollars, and a stronger democracy.
Well said.
So.
On that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Yeah.
But before we do,
I
want to leave our listener with a question to ponder.
Okay.
What would a truly modern and efficient government look like to you?
That's a good question.
What services would you want to see streamlined?
Mm-hmm.
How would you want to interact with the government in the future?
Those are great questions to consider.
Yeah.
And I think it's up to all of us to envision the future that we want.
Right.
And to hold our government accountable for making that vision a reality.
All right. So thank you for joining us on this journey.
It's been a fun one.
Into the world of government finance modernization.
Yeah. Who knew?
Who knew? It could be so interesting.
Right.
It's been an eye-opening experience.
Yes, it has.
To say the least.
To say the least.
And until next time.
Yeah.
Keep diving deeper.
Keep on diving.